Oh, well, that's nice to know. Today we're going to be taking an overview of the business intelligence system and all the modules, and hopefully to give you guys some ideas about how you could benefit from it, how you could get more information of value out to more people in less time, and help you develop and grow your business and become more efficient at what you do. The elements we're going to focus on today are well, there's a lot of them, and they're all pretty essential. We have the report manager, which we use to create, distribute, modify, and run reports. We have the connector, which is, on the technical side, it sets up a mapping so that you can say, I want data from this particular database, from these tables, these particular fields. I want to gather them all up and just not collect the data, but set up a mapping so that when I want to run a report, I say, go get me that, and it brings it in. Okay, and that's what the connector does. It connects between you sitting there running a report and all the data that's on the back end. And now the report designer, there are financial reports that are standard with the system. The report designer is an additional add-on that you can purchase, and you can talk to Linda about that anytime. But we have added some really, really powerful functions within the report designer report that enable a user to create customized financial reports with relative ease. So if you're happy with the stock reports and also their standard report designer reports that we'll go over, that's great, and you can also customize them to your heart's content. And then at the end, if we have a little bit of time, we'll focus just for a few minutes on security report viewers, which is a way for people to be able to get in there and pick and choose what they'd like to see without having to get into the inner sanctum here where you set up and create and delete reports. Okay? So, moving on. Whoops. Let's get out of that for now. When we open up Sage 300 and go to intelligence reporting, here's where we're going to start. Here's where we see all the things that we're going to be working with. Today is the report viewers, managers connector, security, focus on those issues. Now, if I double click on report manager or connector, of course it'll open up, but I already have the report manager open here. And here's what we're going to take a look at. First of all, this is the interface. We have an object window here. We have the properties window here. And up on top, we have a type of ribbon with a whole bunch of menu options and shortcuts. So when I first open it up, I can take a look. I don't see very much going on over here. I see nothing here. And as far as the options up top, all I can do at this point is add a folder. Okay, but if I double click, then I see quite a few folders, and you can add a folder to this home folder, and each of these folders contains reports. Okay, so we want to name them in some way that's intuitive and friendly, and if you can create your own folder that says My Reports and put them in there, and so you can go to them from there. Now, if I click on a folder, then I can, I can add a report to this folder. I can rename the folder. We see these things lighting up. If I double-click on this here, we have a number of reports here that we're going to take a look at today. And for example, if I click on a report, then I see a whole other set of options opening up above. I can run this report. Well, that's very important. Okay, I can rename it. And I can, when it comes to tools, for example, here's a good one. You'll like this once you get rolling. If I go to a folder, let's say I have a folder of reports that I want to run at month end, I can go to that folder and just run all the reports. Okay, and that's pretty neat. Now, if I click on an actual report, then the properties window changes dramatically. Okay, the properties are defined by each different report. So in this report, I'll see columns, I'll see filters or parameters. Okay, the financial year is equal to, and I set this up to be 2020 because I got very tired of typing in 2020. Now, the test company we're going to be using today has data for 2019 and 2020, but it's spotty. So I just bring in as much as I can, and to be sure that I get some data that I can work with. This one at one point I just got tired of it, and I just clicked on this parameter and changed it to 2020 so I don't have to select an option all the time. Okay, I've got properties, and I've got columns, I've got various filters and parameters, and I can sort and aggregate data. Okay, now let's see. If I keep going, okay, I can see I have additional options here that I can look at. Now, the source container, we'll get into this in more detail a little bit later on, but this is where I get to see the connector, the way the data has been accessed from the underlying data. Now, in the different properties here where I can see. So, okay. Now, when you first go ahead and install your business intelligence and you want to look at your reports, this is what you can see. Let's say we want to go to the inventory reports. Okay, I say, well, look, there's an inventory master. Sounds interesting. If I click on this, I see the property is very, very different than it was when I was looking at my previous report examples. This one here has been set up to unlock on copy. It is a master, which means that the settings prohibit you from editing the report, and it's your backup, for example. So if I want to, I can run it, and we'll run it later. But if I wanted to use this report, this is very important for you to see. I need to make a copy of it, and I can do it here, or I can use this copy button up here. I make a copy of it, okay, and then I'll go to another folder here, and I can paste it. And here it is. And when I pasted it, now I can see the properties. Now I can see the columns and the filters, and I can modify and work with, and edit this report and save it and save my changes. Okay. So when you first get your business intelligence report manager up and running, this is something that you're going to want to do to start playing with everything. Now, this name, copy of inventory master 3-3 AE-SQL and paren, is not exactly your user-friendly name. If you wanted to distribute this to various people in your company, or you wanted to look it up in a list, you might look at this and say, this is a name that's unwieldy. So you can rename it. I can do that with a right click or over here. And the reason I'm showing you this is because there are a number of properties here that are associated with the name. Let me show you, for example. Here is the name of the report, copy of inventory master. But there is also a template, an Excel template. Now, the connector tells us where the data is coming from. It picks up all the fields, and we set a report to use all that information. But in the way that the information is displayed and arrayed inside that Excel workbook has to do with the Excel template, which is a feature of Excel. So this is a template that's a copy of the standard template. I could change this many, many times and add new workbooks or new data fields to this report. But typically we want the name of the report and the name of the template to be identical. So if I rename this, it looks at it and it says, okay, what's the name? And I'll call it My Inventory Report. Okay, so this is renaming the report. I say OK. Now it says, what about the template? And the standard thing you want to do is, if you're renaming the report, get rid of the old template and create a new one. It's a copy with the same name. So that's what this first option is. So I say OK. There we go. So I have my inventory report, and I have the template is called my inventory report. Now, I know the first time I looked at that, it was a little confusing because it's hard to distinguish right away what exactly they're asking me to rename and et cetera. So, okay, let's proceed. We're going to start looking at some standard reports. And in the process of doing that, we're going to jump around and take a look at a lot of the features of the reports, how they operate, and just kind of dig into various aspects of the system as we go through these reports.
Bob, this is Linda, and
hi,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I have a request from one of the participants. If you could enlarge your screen.
Well, I don't think this is what you meant. You meant if I can change the screen, the resolution.
Right.
Okay. So I'll try that. Why? Okay. Let's.
And also, I have forgot that the end user can also do this. So the person requesting this, I think if you hit the enlarge button on your join.me meeting, it will enlarge, if I remember right.
So enlarge control at the lower right. And you're talking about at the lower right of what?
Of the join.me, of their meeting they're in. I had forgotten that.
Well, I'm not sure where that control is. I don't see it.
Hey, this is Mark at MTS.
I changed my screen resolution. Is this working for people?
Okay, they've got it. They figured it out. Everything's fine.
Okay.
I just got a chat message from them. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, can I put my screen resolution back, or do you need me to keep it this way for now?
I think it's fine. I can still see it just fine.
Okay. Well, we'll just leave it as it is.
All right. Great. Thank you.
Okay. Here we go. Okay. So where were we? We're running the financial trend analysis demo. We're just going to start running through some reports here. Have some fun with them. So I highlighted the report, and I see run. Okay? Boom. Now, I've already set the year to 2020. Now, this report enables us to take a graphic and linear view of the progression of the values in any particular GL account over a period of 2 years. And here we go. We have so now we're looking at sales accessories, and here we are taking sales accessories in another region for perhaps. So let's take a look at commissions, whatever. Now remember, this is sample data, and it's spotty at times. So, I would expect you get a lot more value out of looking at your own information. But here, the current year, 2020, it only goes half year in that data, and the prior year goes for full year. So, this is a pretty handy report to see things very visually, and the user just gets a chance to pick whatever GL account they so desire. See how we're doing with office supplies. Well, I guess we're living off our inventory of office supplies. Okay, so I'm going to close this one down now. Okay? And I'm not going to save any changes. We're just taking a quick look. Now, for whatever it's worth, I do have a number of other reports up that do take a little longer to run, and later we'll get to them. I just thought it would be a good time saver. Okay, so here's another one, the General Ledger Transaction Detail. And once again, I will choose my full year. Oh, let's choose 2019. Get a better shot that way. Okay, now this report, let me show you a little bit about how this works. If I go to Format and unhide a sheet, I will see that I have a sheet 1 that is just chock-a-block full of data. Okay, and this shows every GL account and the type of account it is, and it shows the balances for the period and for all the different transactions and the references, different customers, etc. So we have a lot of raw data here. That's what this is raw data. And if I go back to my report, this is actually a pivot table. Okay, I'm going to minimize that. This is a pivot table. Now, because I've enlarged my screen, there we go, that'll make it a little easier. I can take a look at this, and I gotta enlarge this so it'll all fit. Okay, so I have up top here, if I say I want to look at a particular period, say I look at period 1. Okay, if I want to look at an account group, let's say I just want to look at my expenses. Okay, so I'm just looking at the expenses for period 1, and I can actually say, well, I'd really like to research something here. Here's some additional options. I click on this batch now, and then I can see the actual batch. So if I want to look a little deeper into this, it tells me exactly which batch it was posted in, and I have an idea of where I can look. Okay. So at any rate, that's it's a quick and easy way to do some research. And if someone needs to do research on a period that's already completed, so that there's no new data coming in all the time, all of these reports can be saved. And as long as the person has business intelligence set up on their workstation, they can operate the report and operate the pivot tables, and all of this hidden data is accessible. And this report is accurate as of the moment that it's generated, because the data is not being drawn continuously from the source data, but from this hidden sheet 1 that you see here. Okay, makes sense? Okay, so let that one go. Okay, now there are a couple different, let's get these set up here. A couple of different dashboard analysis. They're just fun to take a look at. If we take a look at the sub-reports, what that means is we have a report here that is going to show us something about customers, about inventory. It's going to show us some things about the general ledger, typically things that don't have all that much to do with each other. But there are separate little sub-reports here that are drawn into the report, and what we're going to look at on this dashboard is, well, let's take a look here. Okay, let's take 2019, take the whole year, for reasons that I have hitherto specified. Okay, and age as of date, let's just make that December. We really don't care, but okay. So we're going to run now, And first it's going to run all of these sub-reports and put them on hidden worksheets. And then
Bob,
yes, ma'am.
we have a question, and the question is the report an engine-powered BI?
An engine-powered BI. Well, that's I believe so, but that's a technical question that's I'm really not able to answer. I know that there's a BI core executable, and I think it's referred to a few times as an engine, but I can't give you a comprehensive answer on that.
All right. Well, I will get it. I will see what I can do to get an answer before we get through with the webinar today.
And it may be when we take a look at the connector that might answer your question just by looking at it. Okay.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
So, and thank you for doing that, because when I have this full screen here, I'm not looking at the chats. It takes up a lot of space. So, thank you for jumping in and helping me with that, Linda. Okay. So, yes. Well, this is a little odd because of my screen resolution change. But anyways, here we have a profit and loss. We have the top 5 expenses, sales variances, customers. There's some other ones like this that have the top inventory items, the slowest moving inventory items, and stuff like that. So an executive would be able to see a good range of data on one page, and these can be distributed automatically, or they could, if they have access, they can generate it any time that they like. And one thing I want to point out here, and we'll see this more with the GL, we have a system here of relating your account groups in Sage 300 to the account groups, I'll call it for lack of a better word, that are used in the business intelligence. So, for example, I may have account group 8 in Sage or 15 for its revenue in Sage, but I have to designate it to 8, which is used for a lot of the summary reporting over here. So if I go here and I have to and a lot of the old GL reports and some of these types of things, we have to go through and associate the accounting system account groups with the intelligence account groups, for lack of a better word. Once that's done, you can go ahead and the things will be accumulated and put into the right buckets. Okay? So, here we go. Close down. Now, let's see what else we've got here. Okay, so this will be fun. So let's get into the Sales Master. I'm going to run this. Let's see, what do I take a look at? We've got columns. We've got a lot of columns. We've got no filters. We've got a number of parameters here, and these are things we see when we first start up. Okay, and that's where we're going to go. So let's see. And just to let you know too, I mean, if I wanted to put a filter over here and say I want for example, the location. Where's the location? The location. Where can I find location? Okay, forget it. Anyways, if I wanted to say location and it equals, and I can say it equals 1 or it equals location 2 or pick it when you run it. All those things are available to take care of right there. So let's go ahead and give this one a shot, Sales Master Demo. And once again, I will select my date range. And currency, this is a multi-currency company. I'm going to say select all and run it. Now here's our sales master report. I can sort things and sift things and filter things and say, I only want to see sales from this individual. Or I can say, I only want to see sales from these two individuals. Okay, and this is all Excel functionality. Okay, so let's just say all. I can choose customer groups. I can choose item categories. And I'm not sure how familiar everybody is with pivot tables, but here we have, we looked at this earlier, here we have a field list, and we have the values from these fields that are set up here, here, and here. Okay. Now, one thing that's very slick. Here's a nice. Can I minimize this? Yeah, let's get this. If I go to insert a slicer, okay, and in terms of thinking this is a cube, we can slice one level off the cube, and that's what these do in a way. But this makes it very visual. Let's say I want to set up a slicer for location name. Here, fortunately, they're alphabetical, so I will set one up, and this is a slicer. And this is the same thing as our selection up top, but it's very visual. Okay, so here is Central Warehouse. Here's Newark, New Jersey. Okay, and if I want to choose, and if I want it to go away, I just send it away. Okay, so these things make it very easy to look at the data. And let's just take this and put it back to all. Now, I'm taking a look at this and, you know, in the whole year for all sales, well, it's not much of a year, but it's sample data. It appears that this company is not using discounts. Okay, and that's right here, total discounts. So I could take this one here and just remove it. Okay, I could take my slicer and I can add it back in, and I'm looking around and saying, well, gee, I would like to add some additional fields, and so here's some fields that are available, but I'd like to add, for example, the unit weight. Okay, and I don't see it here, so I'm going to. Well, I'm going to do two things right now. Number one, I'm going to go back to the report designer. I'm going to say, well, I got rid of that field and I don't want it back again. So I'm going to save the report and save the template. So see this run here, save as Excel template. What I'm going to do is I have to pick, I have 3 reports open, but the one that I'm operating, Sales Master OE Demo, is right here. So I select that one, and it tells me, it tells me a few things. It says that we put the parameters, number, the date range, and stuff like that, on the second sheet. So make sure that that's clear, and I say OK. And it says specify the template name, which is all very good. And then it says there already exists a template by that name. Would you like to replace it? So that's a lot of prompts. It can be confusing, but that's the idea. Oops. You want to cancel? Oh, I did not want to delete that. Okay, and then we get the message that we've successfully created a new template and linked it to the report, okay, which is exactly what we want. Now, here I am on the Sales Master report, and I say, well, gee, here are the columns that are available that I saw there, but I don't see the unit weight. If I go add, if I hit this add button, the truth is that there are perhaps more fields available through the connection and the data container that I'm actually using. So I look through here, and don't see anything about unit weight. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to double-click here. Here it says source container, and here is the source, the connector. I'm going to go to the container, this container, in the connector. Okay, so now we're in the connector module. The connector module enables you, as I said earlier, to map out which data source, which tables, how they relate, which fields we want to report on, and all that type of thing. And then we use that as a basis for writing a report. So here we have the sales master, and we can see that we're using ARCust, we're using the order entry shipment details, the item groups, the item file, et cetera, et cetera. This is a list of the joins of the various tables. So at this point, I'm looking for if I double-click here, I see extended below a list of all the expressions, many of which are data fields, that I have access to. And I don't see anything to do with unit weight. Okay, so I'm going to right-click here and say Add Expressions. And I want to add a data field. Okay, now you can take a look. I can create pass-through variables or add a SQL expression. This is the most basic, and that's what we're going to do right now. So when I click OK, it opens up a window that shows me all of the data tables in the SQL backend data that I can select from. Now, I can select all. Whoops, that's deselect all. I can select all, and that will give me a list of an enormous amount of fields to pick through. Or if I'm thinking unit weight, I think that might be an IC item. So I'll say OK. And let's see. Weight. No, weight unit might be pounds. There's one called unit weight. Let's cancel this, and let's add expressions. Okay. Let's select all. Boy, this is tough. Yes. Okay, well, take
Bob,
my word for it. What's that?
You passed it. It was up higher.
I did pass it. Yeah, well, my eyes ain't what they used to be. So thank you, Bob, for keeping an eye on things. Now, select all. Well, I know it's not an ARCust, and it's not in AR groups, and it's not in item categories, and I don't think the weight is at the location file, and it's not there. So I'll look in these two, and I believe it's called unit weight. Let me open this up a little bit here.
It said weight unit.
Yeah, but I think weight unit is like pounds or ounces or something like that. There's one called unit weight. For all I know, I may have.
Can you click on the name column?
Hmm?
Can you click on the name column and give an alphabetical order?
Somebody's got
There
it.
you go.
Okay. Unit weight. Who said that? Who was that?
That's MTS.
Smartest man in the room. Thank you.
Now we're a bunch of old programmers, so.
Okay, well, you're not too old. Okay, so I just added unit weight, and it goes up on the top here. Thank you very much for your assistance. Okay, now I'm just going to minimize this. I'm going to go back to my SalesMaster demo. I'm going to go to columns. I'm going to hit add, and, well, shiver me timbers. There it goes, unit weight. So if I roll this again, oh yes, hallelujah. You know, because this is set to a system variable that looks at the, you know, the computer date, and it says, I assume they want to run it for today. Is that what we're running it for? Actually, we want to run it for 2019. There's more data there. Okay, and the currency, select all. Okay, now taking a look at my available stuff here, look at here, unit weight. I have the sum of unit weight, goes if it put it in values. But I can also take it and, well, let's see, if I unit weight and I want to put it in, I can't see everything because, okay, if I want to take this and put it over by the row labels, okay, that makes a little more sense. And so, so here's the unit weight for that item, and I could create additional Excel columns here that show the extended weight or whatever I want to do with it. And so, you know, without having to have a tremendous amount of programming expertise, you can actually make a pretty good dent into modifying these reports for yourself. One other thing I want to show you too, am I frozen? Oh, this is really great. Okay, well, I'll just go here. We do have an application object model. So, for example, if I wanted to go, let's say on the sales report, and I wanted to add state, and I didn't see it, I could go to AR, and I just use Control F and go. I want to find ARCUS because I know that's the customer file. So if I click here, I go to ARCUS, and I'm looking for state. And I see here that the name of the field that I want is CODESTTE, which if I was looking through those huge lists to find state and did not find it, even if code state was there, I probably wouldn't know what it was. So this is a great tool, you know, for creating reports. You need to know something about the database and where the data is located and what it's called, as well as learning how to operate all this business intelligence modules, as well as understanding Excel. So this gives you some background here, and you can go ahead and find the information that you're looking for so that you know what to include or what not to include. Okay? Now, let's see. Are we done with this? Let me see. Do you have anything else you want to do with the Sales Master? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to exit this now. I'm not going to bother saving it. Okay? But we've already demonstrated how this saving the template routine works. Okay, so inventory. Everybody loves inventory. So we've got, once again, the properties, and this here we've got all our columns, the fields available, various filters, parameters, which we don't have any in this sense. But let's take a look at the inventory master. And this report doesn't have any arguments. You just go ahead and run it. It's showing you your status as of right now. Okay. Let's take a look. Category code, accessories. Now it shows me only accessories. It shows me various costs, most recent costs, the quantity that's included in SO, PO, etc. So let's put this back to all, and let's play around. Let's say location. Instead of having it up on top, let's say I want to put it on the row labels. Okay. Well, maybe I just like to look at things this way, you know. So I have here all my numbers for location 1, location 2, location 3, etc. And you know, all fine and good. I can move it back. And we can do the same thing we've done before. We can check this out if we wanted to add a slicer. I could add a slicer for the location name instead of location code, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. So here I go, and I want to take a look at this warehouse. Okay. This apparently where we have all our stuff. We've got some in New Jersey, got some in Portland, etc. So just to give you some idea of how you can use these and how various people can find multiple ways of looking at information right from the same report. And that's why we call it intelligence as opposed to data. Okay, so let's see now. I'm going to close this down. Are there any questions at this point? Okay, no problem.
Bob, this is Linda, and I did want to mention that I did get an answer to our question about the engine for business intelligence. And the business intelligence works with Office 2007, 2010, and 2013. And actually, Sage Business Intelligence has its own Power Business Intelligence tool within it. That's what makes it so nice. But to be more specific, it does not yet work with Office 365, which uses that Power BI.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. And I was...
So, in fact, it's my understanding that the Sage Business Intelligence would likely, sort of replace that Power BI. So.
Or has its own internal tools. Okay, we're going to this is a nice little one. It shows the top 5 products. I'm not going to bother with it, but there's lots of other reports. No way we're going to get to them all. I'm going to start taking a look at some of the financial reports now, and I have already run these. This here is kind of the old school financial report methodology that was a standard report prior to the introduction of the report designer. So I just want to go over it because a lot of people who are just using the standard report designer will be taking a look at this. Now, once again, we have to set up these categories, and it's a bit more extensive here than it is for that dashboard that I showed you earlier. But here we have, current assets is defined in one system as 0, 1, and the other one is 20, and we have to map them to each other. No big deal, just something that needs to be done. You can't really get anything going without it. This here is, I left it open. This is the raw data that comes across when the report is generated. And you can see you have all the GL accounts, all the GL accounts and information about their balances for various actual, budget, and prior for all these periods. And you can see it's spotty. There is no prior year, and I don't think they have any budgets either in this test company. But regardless, okay. And so going to the menu here, this is where you generate a report. I see these define actual, budget, then the variance between the two, then a blank, and it does that for periods 1 to 12, plus summaries for quarter and summaries for year to date, and then the annual budget. So that's a hell of a report, and all of these, are some more complex than others. But when you click on it, the macros just run the whole thing out. Well, this is what it looks like, and I labeled this. This is number 2, actual plus prior and quarters, and this is what the report looks like when it's generated out. All of these groupings can be expanded or contracted, and we see all this data. Now, if I look at it and I say, well, gee, I just want to delete this column, or I don't have a budget and I don't want to run it with a budget. If I don't find an example on this menu here that's exactly what I'm looking for, I can just modify this report. Then I save it with the template. And the next time I run it, this report doesn't need to be generated. It's already there based upon the date range I selected when I actually ran the report, as you've seen. Okay, here's a balance sheet, and it's quarter plus year to date. And once again, we can expand these things out, and you can distribute these and do whatever. Okay, but these are pretty comprehensive reports, and you can hide columns, and you can delete columns, and you can change them. You can copy the whole thing and make your own thing out of it. And so in modifying these reports in this standard report that does not use the report designer, basically you're using Excel tools to modify this report. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to close this out now. 7, refining reports. Is that the one I'm out here? Yes, don't see. Okay. Okay, so that takes us now to the report designer. And let's take a look at that here in okay, the report designer uses a different approach. There are all these sub-reports. Now, these reports are actually reports that were generated and created, but they were accumulated into a master report so that on hidden worksheets, you have a whole set of data which includes not just transaction data, but also the building blocks, a full list of your GL accounts, your account types, your currencies, your fiscal year information, etc. And then the formulas and the tools within the report designer enable you to accumulate those things in an intelligent manner within the Excel. Okay, so there are a lot of reports within this here, and so I ran it already. Now, they'll look a lot cleaner, but whatever. And you can collapse these and look at it like this, or you can expand it and see your detail. Okay, and if we take a look here, we want to take a look here. We see here, this is a formula, a custom formula, and if we click on the formula button, this is standard Excel. We can see all of these cell references that have been accessed. And so when I use this formula, it's essentially pointing to the correct year, the correct period, the correct company, the currency is what type of currency it is, the account, and the account type. and it accumulates all that information as part of the formula. Then it reads it, it extracts it from our raw data pages, and it puts the result right here. So you can distribute this report, and other users can, well, I don't think anybody's going to want to distribute it for people to modify, but it's you know, you can, if I want to change this, let's see, actually I think this is the reason this was not the reason this was not accessed here is because this is the opening balance for the year, so it relates back to the year. This field here would be excuse me. Well, it's a sum. Forget it. At any rate, here's the balance sheet, and we use these formulas. Here we have the sum of all of the transaction amounts for this period and year for cash and equivalents, accounts receivable. Just an easy report. Here's an income statement. It goes the same way. And then we also have this capacity to use. Well, actually, let me do this. Let me go to the end of these here. Whoops, that's the wrong one. I want to go to. Okay. Okay. Let's take a look at the. Okay, forgive me. For some reason, I'm missing my report designer add-in. I may need to close this and rerun it. My okay, well, let's see, do we have enough time to do this? We're almost up in an hour. Let me just focus on the report designer and the layout manager. I'm missing the menu for that. It's escaped, and I'll need to go and do something to deal with it. So here we go. If I want to look at the accounts, okay, I've got my complete list of accounts here. If I want to take a look at currency, here's all my currencies. If I want to look at account structure, here are all my building blocks. Segments, okay, segment codes, okay, and so those are the lists that I can use to, for example, if I want to create a report, I would want to have, let's get rid of all this stuff here. I would want to have the company, but the company is the same company every time. And I want to have the account. I want to have the account and the structure. And after that, I can start putting formulas in. So if I want to see the opening balance, well, I did this over here. If I have an account here and the sales, and this is a formula, which is the GL actual, and let's see what it's looking at. It's looking at a little set of cells that I have up at the top here that I'm going to use to refer to so that you know, my formulas would be consistent, and I can drag and drop them and move them around. For example, if I change the period 1 to period 2, all these numbers are going to change. Okay? And so here I have, and I just threw this together last night. This is the actual for the period in question, and this is the year to date. Okay? So you can put anything together. I mean, if you do a lot of shipping and you want a report that shows, you know, your 20 shipping accounts and how they progressed over the year, you could put together a report just for that. They don't necessarily have to be full financial reports. They can give you a lot of traceability and information based upon what you're looking for. Now, the layout generator, and I apologize because this has happened before. It seems to disappear at times. Yeah, it's not there. And what that does is it's an intuitive way to set up this little area at the top here. You have to identify the company, the year, the currency, etc., the period, and you can specify whether you want it to be summarized by account group, or if you want it to be, to list every single one of the accounts, then you can roll them up. And there are already predetermined formulas for giving you, period one, actual period one budget. So you can just grab them from a list and throw them in there, and you can see graphically which ones go along the left side, which go along the top. And so you have your column headers, your row headers, and your cell references all established. And the thing that's very, very cool is that you can set this up so you can say that my revenue is it goes in range 4,000 to 4,270, and then 4,300 to 4,390, but don't include 4,380, for example. It's very intuitive. You can set this up so that when you're looking at revenue, you're getting this, and also the window enables you to audit what it is that you actually have done, which accounts are included in that type of a description. So, we've all had experiences where a GL account shows up in a certain place in the general ledger, and we wish it wasn't there. We wish it was someplace else. And there are tools for that, but this one takes care of that very nicely. Okay, so that's what the layout generator does. You don't have to be that much of a programmer. You don't have to deal with all these formulas, but you can set it up, and then once you've done that, if you want to tweak it, you can continue to use this report designer, or you can, you can start from scratch with the report designer. Now, in the report designer here, we have a few things. We have formulas and lists, which we've looked at, and here's just to take a look: actual year-to-date, budget, etc. Okay, and this is all pulling from these hidden worksheets that I described earlier. Now, the other thing is very interesting is report trees, and I've set these up for this sample company. And the way that their general ledger operates is like the first section is their natural account. The second section is going to be 100 to 200, and it's commercial or retail. And then there's either 10, 20, 30, or 40 in the third segment of their GL account, and that specifies these regions. But what if I want to report it the other way? What if I want to report it so that I have northern, and then commercial, and then retail, and then southern, and then commercial, and then retail? I can set up a reporting tree that will give me the data in a different hierarchy than the actual structure of the general ledger. And it's just a real neat. And if you're a company with a heavy GL use, these could be a real lifesaver. So let's take a look at a couple of the standard reports that use that. For example, here's if I wanted to take. Okay, so here's commercial. Let's just say I want to put commercial in here too. Okay, well, this is looking at period 7 for this company for the year that we, for 2020. And if I wanted to say, well, I just want to look at the northern, okay, I want to look at southern, I can drop it in here. Now, this is set up by division, so in reality, what we want to see here is commercial versus retail, current, year-to-date, and why is this? They're both 2020. Oh, yeah, they're both the same year, but they're different divisions. This one here, the regional, we have this first formula here for revenue in northern is looking at all your standard cell references and account, but it's looking at the reporting unit for commercial northern, okay? This one here is looking at southern, as the menu says. And so, we can drag and drop these in and set them up with our cell references and have a hell of a good time. Okay. So, what's next? I think that's enough for me for right now for the report designer. And I'm not going to bother saving that. I'm going to close this. And I'm going to just try this. If I have, sometimes there's a ghost process for Excel that's running, and this one here. So just for fun, let's see if I can show you the layout generator. Well, because of all the reports, this takes about 30 seconds to run. We're getting close. We're about an hour now, and there are just a few other little things that I want to show you. And they have to do with something to do with some of the security that's involved in these reports. You don't want everybody seeing every report. So if I go to Sage 300 and I go to Administrative Services, Security Groups. Whoops, okay. We popped up, let's see. That's what it was. I'll come back to that in just a second. We have here intelligence reporting, and we can, depending on the user group, I mean, this one I'm the only user, so you can say the user groups, the people in accounts payable, we want them to have, do we want them to have connector? No. So you can set up what they have access to, and typically you'd want them to have access at least to report viewer, if anything. Okay, so once that, So once I've set up who has access to what aspects of the BI, then I can go to the security manager here within Business Intelligence. And because I'm administrator, I get to see everything. But as far as users, if I take a look at reports, this is a hell of a list because it includes all the sub-reports, okay? But if I say, well, I want somebody to be able to see this report here, it's going to click all the sub-reports for me. So fortunately, I don't have to remember which ones are associated. And for example, let's find the inventory report. That doesn't have any subs. Or Sales Master, for example. Okay, so that doesn't have any subs, just you click that. And you can assign it to a particular user, okay? And when they, if they're issued a report viewer, okay, these are the report viewers, they can have a little application that they can open up, and it gives them a list. Now, in this case, you're going to see everything that I saw in Report Manager because I'm the administrator. But you can set it up so that they can only see the reports that you want them to see, and they can run them, and they'll have the same parameters. It'll show today's date or whatever, and you can set it up so that you have one with a particular set of filters. Let's say if this one guy only wants to look at inventory for one location, you can set up a filter that's only that location, and that's what he sees. So you can customize it, or you can give people more options and more data in the report, and then they can pick and choose what it is they want to look at, and that's pretty easy. So if you run a report from here, hit run, you have the same impact as if you ran it from the Report Manager. But they can't go in and screw up the report. Okay. So we did security, and we did, the report designer. That's right, I got it running. Okay, so if I go, let's just go to an empty sheet here. Okay, so here on the BA tools, I have the layout generator. And I'm just going to take a few minutes on this, because actually I think it's pretty cool. So if I look at manage layouts, well, let's just take a look quick at it. But whatever. We have a number of different setups already, and you can set up your own pretty easily. But let's take a look at Quick Edit, and then, or I'll pick one. Let's see, balance sheet. Okay. So here is what it looks like. When I first open up, when I create a new one, all this is blank. I have to select a company, select a fiscal year, because I brought in 3 fiscal years. But if I run a this year and prior, I better run, I choose my current year, my currency, etc., various structure codes. I can choose when I do generate it, do I want to show the account detail or just do it in subgroupings like revenue, for example. When I go to the text columns, that's up here. That's, you want to see the account and the description. When I go to the columns, that's here, okay? And if I want to put something in there, I just double click on it, and it goes, where did it go? Actual 01. It's pretty busy up top here, so I don't care. But it goes up, and you can take these things and it can move them around, okay? And you can put a spacer in there if you want. I'm not going to save this, sir. I'm not going to generate it either. So, and anyways, when it comes to the row sets, now this is what I was showing you before. If I go to the row sets, I'm not sure this is the best example, but yeah, sure. Non-current assets, 1250 plus 1500 to 1730, and when I click on it, then I see this is what I'm going to get. So I can audit myself, right? Current assets, 1,000 to 1,200 plus blah, blah, blah. And so then I can audit myself and see what I get down here. So if I choose that row set, then if I run it with accounts, then I'll get a subtotal and I'll get all the accounts that I want exactly as I saw and exactly as I set up. And so somebody doesn't have to use a formula. They can just pick actual 05, right? And let's take a look and see what some of the others are. Slide this down. We have prior, actual and prior year to date, budget for this year and last year. And we also have, there are closing balances, opening balances. Well, this is for the balance sheet. And, you don't have to be much of a programmer or know which formula to use. You can just pick it out of the list. And there are also calculations. For example, it's like here's one, a variance year to date, actual versus prior. So you don't even have to use Excel formulas to say this minus this equals that. You just pick this up and drop it in, and it's going to pop up there, and you move it to the appropriate place. And you can generate it if you don't like the way it looks. You put too many spacers or not enough, or something accidentally got in the wrong position. You just move it. And it's very easy to generate. And once you've done that, you can look it over, modify it within Excel. You could, if you want to add anything to it using the report designer and the formulas and all that stuff, you can do so. And it all automatically, remember I showed you our little set of cell references up here. Maybe that's not the best example, but you need the current year, the current period, the company name, all this type of information. You need that in order for the formula to be able to feed you back the right numbers. So it sets up a little setup just like this in the upper left-hand corner, and you can use that to generate all your formulas out of, and the report itself will be drawing from there. So I think we've about hit our time, and I'm going to get rid of this. I'm not going to save it. I'm going to close this down. Where's my magnificent PowerPoint here? Here it is. We are Tandem Technologies, LLC, connecting people, business, and technology. Here to help. So if you want to get in touch with us, this is how to do it. But I'm sure you already all know that. and I hope you enjoyed the program and are able to see some ways that you might be able to benefit from having some business intelligence in your future.